Hello and namaskaram to all our esteemed viewers and subscribers. Our channel is very grateful and deeply touched by the overwhelming love and affection you have shown us. We are really grateful and thank you. Ah, the elusive peace of mind. A treasure so rare yet so essential, isn't it? The only two things I always ask universe to bless me, my family and my loved ones with, one is good health and the second is peace of mind. Imagine, if you will, a serene blue green colored lake. The wind is blowing just right temperature. The sun is bright and the surface of the lake is unruffled by the turbulences of life's storms. This is the metaphorical haven we all seek, a sanctuary where worries dissolve like mist at dawn and tranquility reigns supreme. Peace of mind is not merely a whimsical notion, it is a cornerstone of a healthy, fulfilling, happy life. It is the quiet guardian of our mental health, the gentle protector of our emotional well being, and the steadfast sentinel of our physical vitality and energy. When peace of mind graces our lives and is a resident of our life, stress takes a back seat, allowing happiness and joy to flourish like wildflowers in a meadow. Our heart beats in harmonious rhythms, ushering in cascade of many health benefits, from lowered blood pressure to enhanced immune systems. We become artists of our own destiny, painting our ways and days with vibrant hues of contentment and purpose. Yet, achieving this blissful state of life requires a lot of vigilance and conscious practicing of certain things and habits. We must be discerning in our interactions, cautious to those who allow into our inner circle and into our energy circle. And we have to be very cautious and aware to not allow them or anyone to disrupt our inner equilibrium. For peace of mind, it is a delicate symphony, easily thrown into a chaotic discord by the cacophony of destructive influences. Be cautious about whom you allow into the vicinity of your life, who can access your time, and how it can be done without disrupting the inner equilibrium. Trust me, with my many business ventures, with my hectic life and traveling and my personal life, it is a very extremely difficult thing for me to do, which is constantly keep working towards making sure peace of mind is a constant resident in my life. In the last couple of years, by the grace of the universe, I have met some wonderful people whom I consider as mentors, because they have impacted me towards inculcating practices, decisions that have helped me allowing peace of mind to be more and more available quantitatively in my life. My mentors are great influences in my life who helped me understand how to get to a point in life where I can experience more peace of mind. It is like an elixir of life. It is the high that you need to experience, and then you get addicted to it, having that peace of mind, and to constantly be, shifting between peace of mind and happiness. These mentors are all individuals who are much older and much wiser than me, who have seen life from different perspectives, who are highly qualified in different areas of education. They are extremely smart individuals. I bow my head in reverence and gratitude towards each one of them who have impacted me in such immense ways. thank you, my mentors and my guides. Through their experiences, wisdom, and knowledge, they have learned how to make peace of mind a constant resident in their life, and to always make sure that it is existing within their circle of energy. One of the key things each one of them taught me is to achieve a constant peace of mind is you have to be very conscious and aware of whom you allow within your life. The list of tips and tricks and practices that they have taught me is very long. But one common thread that I've seen in all their teachings is that there are certain types of characters of humans that we should avoid in our life, and we should keep them away from our life. And if they are accidentally coming into the circle of energy, you have to push them out hard and fast. So what I did is, with in addition to the learnings from my mentors, I mixed a little bit of my education and my experience with it, and try to put together a list of 10 types of characters that you should keep outside of your life or from your energy circle. And if they accidentally come into your life, you have to make a decision. There are some categories of characters where you will hear me strongly say that try your best to keep these out of your life. And then there are other categories of characters where I don't state that, because it is something that you need to evaluate the pros and cons, the benefits and the repercussions of having such characters in your life. Because sometimes life is not as simple as we think, right? There are some relationships that we cannot cut off. And then there are other complexities. It's not just about the relationship. There are many other factors that tie into it. But for some categories of these characters, I will emphatically say that you do not want these in your life in any way. Cut them off from your life. So what I did was I divided these characters into 10 categories. And personally, in my life, I don't want any of these 10 categories anywhere around me. There might be very few exceptions, and that also with some of the lesser impactful situations and lesser impactful categories. You will hear me talk about it a little bit more. So I am assuming that this will be a long video. So instead of creating one part and a long one, I think I might split this into 2 or 3 parts of videos. Let's see how it goes. The first category of people, I don't want to use this term in a derogatory way, but there is no other way to explain this category. The first category are fools. There is a very famous saying which says, never argue with a fool, because what will happen is now instead of 1, there will be 2. This is a very, very true statement, and it is a true fact. There are 2 types of fools. The first type of fools, these individuals, they are the harmless fools. I call them, they are born that way. They lack the mental capacity to understand complex matters, and these individuals, generally you will see they are nice, they are kind, and they are, naive. They have a lot of compassion for others. They move through life with an innocence which is charming and concerning. They mean well and are often guided by a pure heart, but they have an inability to grasp the complexities and the intricacies of life. So, they end up making incorrect decisions in their life, and they don't have the ability to make the right decisions. They are never the individuals that you would ever go and ask for any opinion or any guidance in your life. Their simplicity, it's a double-edged sword, and I've seen a lot of such individuals, especially in the rural areas, in the, heartland of villages. When you run into such an individual, be nice to them. Don't be mean to them, because you will see the surrounding people, they make fun of them, they demean them, or, they kind of crack jokes at the cost of these people. These people, they inherently are, they don't have the capacity, the mental ability to live a normal life. They are vulnerable, and sometimes you will see that they get manipulated, and they are victims of their situations sometimes in lives. So this type of innocent fools, I have full empathy for them, and ask you, whenever you run into them, be kind to them or do something nice for them if you have a chance. The second type of fools, these are the dangerous fools. These are the ones, if you ever find them around you in any capacity. So I'm talking about these characters, whether it's in your personal life, professional life, or on social media. These type of fools, they are, they are very disruptive by nature. They're socially disruptive. They believe that they are cunning and clever, but it is exactly the opposite. They operate under the delusion that their actions and whatever they are doing is very shrewd and smart. And they think that they are somebody in the society, or they hold some value in the society, yet their decisions are invariably leading to chaos, misunderstandings, and they thrive on turmoil. These individuals, they are the opposite, they're antithesis of the type 1 fools that we talked about. Generally, these individuals are driven by ego and arrogance. They have anger issues. They are emotionally very unstable. They are unpleasant personalities. You will find them to be selfish, very impulsive in nature. They often engage in verbal abuses, and they are mean people. They engage in bullying, and they will generally have a bad reputation in the society. They are very unreliable and untrustworthy, and you will see how this category of fools, they bleed into the next category of people that I'm going to talk about. The second category is bad characters. You definitely need to avoid these people in your life, and you need to keep them as far away as possible in all possible ways. These are, I generalize the statement bad characters because there are many, small categories underneath the category of people. These individuals, they jeopardize not only peace of mind, but they are unethical and they have criminal dispositions. They are generally fraudulent in nature, manipulative, selfish, unethical, and they don't understand the concept of ethics. Their ethics, the compass of ethics, it switches according to their convenience, and sometimes it's literally swinging around in such speed that they lose the concept of ethics. Unlike an innocent fool, these individuals, they are little aware of their malevolent actions, and they're often driven by conscious choices to deceive and exploit others. Like I said, their moral compasses are very misguided, and they constantly lie. They are immoral. They have malice intentions. They're always trying to find an opportunity where they can benefit out of you. And these kind of individuals, they don't have the right kind of sensibility or rationality. Bad characters generally attract bad characters. So you will see them huddling together, and they are fanning their egos and unhealthy nature of life. These individuals, you will see, they don't have very good relationships in their life, even with their own family. They have multiple romantic relationships. They will have kids from multiple partners. They are, they are skipping from one point, from one point to another point without any stability, whether it is in their careers, in their personal life, or whether it is in their financial lack of stability. They tend to be constantly making decisions and choices that are going to be self-destructive in nature. They have very low self-esteem. Again, they have high ego, arrogance, anger issues, emotionally unstable. They can also be abusing, in verbally, physically, and they're not good energy to keep around in your life. They're driven by frequencies that come from places like hate, jealousy, envy, possessiveness, and they are constantly seeking control. So they're control freaks indirectly. And you will see how they bleed into the next category of people I'm going to talk about. This third category, I am very familiar with this category. I've studied them intensely, and I have worked with a lot of victims of this category of people. The third category is abusers. Okay. I have split this abusers category into two parts. Okay. So part one and part two, even though they are very similar to the intensity or how bad it is, one category is little bit worse than the other one. So the first category of abusers are the physical abusers. I will not get into the types of physical abuse because there are a list of things. Domestic violence, sexual abuse, they all fall under this. Child abuse, they all fall under this. And with this category, the only thing I have to say is that run away as fast as possible and save anybody you know who is undergoing any kind of physical abuse. These people, they generally have a pattern. They will abuse, then they will seek forgiveness, and then they will try to love bomb you with affection, and then they will repeat this pattern again and again. And I have seen many people stay in abusive relationships for decades altogether. I mean, and the kind of emotional, physical, financial drain that these people do on lives is terrible. So if you are in any way in an abusive relationship, you have to seek help. You have to get out of that relationship. This is not going to get any better. It gets worse and worse over a period of time. There are many statistics around the world collected related to domestic violence, and the National Institute of Health, NIH, they claim, and this is true fact, that 1 out of every 3 women in the world experience domestic violence, and 1 out of 6 men experience domestic or physical violence. So this is a very severe situation, and if the only thing I have to say is such individuals, they need to be put behind bars. They need to be prosecuted legally, and they need to be treated. These people are danger ticking bombs within the society because they do not have control over their actions, and then they are not seeking any help around this. And as they grow older, and if there is addiction attached to this, it is disaster waiting to happen. So run and get out of this. Do not stay in a physical abusive relationship. And if you see anybody around you, whether it is your family member, somebody you work with, if you see physical signs of scars, you need to call the cops. Even if that person is not willing to take help, you need to call cops, especially if you live in modern societies like the US, Canada, Europe. They will get help immediately. And many other countries also provide a lot of help for DV victims. The second category of abusers, I categorize them all in the same bucket because they all have similar characteristics. These are individuals who are verbal abusers, emotional abusers, psychological abusers, financial abusers, the power abusers, many other factors, okay? So all other abusers, they all are in the same category of abusers. They have similar situations of characteristics. Most of them are sadistic. They have low self-esteem, anger issues. They have arrogance, ego. They have very little respect in the society. They don't have stability in their life. And what has happened is in the last 2 to 3 decades, since last 2 to 3 decades, many advanced countries, they have very strong laws against domestic violence, and it has become stricter and stricter and stricter around the world. So many of these abusive nature individuals, they have shifted from physical abuse to psychological, emotional, and verbal abuses. And they have the same pattern. They will abuse you, they will seek forgiveness, they will say, I'm not a bad person, and I did this once, I'm a good person, I'm not beating you. But they are doing exactly what physical abusers are doing. That the only difference is you do not have any physical impacts of that abuse, but everything else. So you are emotionally abused, you are you are mentally abused. It is impacting everything in your life, and it will have an impact on your physical health as well. These abusers, especially the ones who are verbal abusers, you will notice that they have emotional outbursts, and they are very irrational. They are very they don't have any control. And many of these individuals, you will notice, and especially in countries where poverty is much rampant, these people are they keep their family in fear. So when they walk into the room or into the house, everybody has to walk on eggshells, because they don't know how daddy's mood is going to be or how mommy's mood is going to be, right? And so it is. And if there are children involved in any kind of these abuses, you have to do your best to save yourself and your children out of such relationships. These individuals, they have acquired a lot of new ways of abusing people. But what happens is they really enjoy that feeling of power, the sadistic. They like to see others suffer. That's basically what the main characteristic of abusers are. They feel in power. They feel like they're in control when they're abusing people. So many new category of abusers, they will lace or they will cover up their abuse with a layer of fake affection or fake love bombing. So the abused victims, they are constantly confused. Oh, is this how it's her way of showing love or his way of showing love? Or maybe I'm just mistaking this. But no, if you have that thought in your mind where you're constantly getting bullied, you're being constantly teased, or somebody's constantly trying to belittle you, these are all signs of abuse. My only one advice on this is, please get out of that relationship or that situation as soon as possible. The fourth category of people that and I call these the AAA syndrome. So we talked about the abusers, and now we are going to talk about the second category of the AAA syndrome, and these are the addicts. Okay, and personally, again, I'll split this into different tiering of addicts. And you will see how the characters of people that we talked about, it bleeds from one into the other, right? So the second type of fools, they can be bad characters, then can be abusers, and abusers can be addicts. So it kind of flows into it. So these are the kind of people that I definitely say you need to keep out of your life. Now, these people, they are they mostly abusers will be having some kind of addiction. Not all addicts are abusers. So I'm just putting it out there. It's a very detailed subject, and this is, again, there is a lot of studies that are happening, and there is a different treatments for different kinds of addictions. But again, these individuals, they do not have willpower. They have allowed themselves to get into habits where they are addicted to something which is not good for them. It's detrimental for them, their lives, and their loved ones, and their families. They do not have a normal state of mind, so they don't have that concept of normal functioning. And because of their dependency of whatever the substance is, the withdrawals of some of these sometimes can make them act extremely dangerous. So the combination of abuse and addiction can be lethal. So if any of these things are mixed within the characters of individuals that you have in your life, you definitely need to seek help and get out of it as soon as possible, because it can be life-threatening at many times. We see around the world domestic violence abuse killings and parents killing children, children killing parents, loved ones. And so it's rampant. And addiction is something that makes the chemical imbalances in your body, it becomes so out of sync that the concept of sensibility and rationality dies within such individuals. There are different types of addiction. So the first tier of addiction that I say is, if this addiction exists in anybody, it's very difficult that you can live with them, and you cannot change them or help them, and it's very difficult for people to hear it, because if you have any close relationship that like a sibling, like a parent or a spouse who is into this kind of substance addiction, there is very little you can do. Many people talk about rehab and things like that, but there is studies that show that very few people actually come out of rehab and are able to successfully live their life in a normal way. So is it worth it? I don't know. It's for you to decide. So it's basically any kind of drugs and alcohol. These two kind of addictions are the top most highest tier of addictions that are lethal, in this category of people. Then the second tier of category of people in this are, they are the ones who are addicted to things like sex, porn, gambling. Again, these are dangerous. These can be dangerous, detrimental. I don't see how these people can function normally, especially if you have young kids and somebody has these kind of addictions. I would recommend to cut off these people out of your life as much as possible. Then the other category of addictions are like, the mother's emotional codependent addiction. And this can be with, I've seen most of this with mother-child relationship, then I've seen some with husband-wife relationship, and most of these happen when, and especially in those parts of the world where women are like, they don't have the sense of self-identity, or they're a single parent, they've gone through bad relationships. So what they do is they have a child and they cling on to that child like a parasite, and they try to make that child live like an extension of their life and their desires and their needs. So that's an addiction, and I've seen many such mothers, especially mothers, who ruin the child's life. And you can see many of the adult children of such codependency addiction is unhappy, unhealthy, and they are unsuccessful in major aspects of their lives. These kind of parents and these kind of codependent addiction, they will use emotional abuse. Emotionally, they will try to guilt you. They'll take you on guilt trips. They subtly use blackmailing, and some of these things. So again, this is a very difficult thing to watch people be trapped into. All I can say is detach yourself from such individuals. Then the lesser impactful kind of addictions, I still think it's an addiction, are like your work addiction. Some people have exercise, workout addictions. These can become detrimental, but you have to manage and understand the boundaries of how you're going to deal with these kind of addictions. Food addiction, which is another addiction that is one of the number one reasons for obesity and overweight and bad health lifestyle choices, is part of it as well. This is again it has underlying issues of mental health issues that need to be known and addressed and treated. The one kind of addiction that I did not put as being dangerous, but I personally, for me, I don't want anybody who's consumed with this kind of addiction as well. That is the addiction to cigarettes, smoking, and tobacco. So when we discuss about addictions in the psychological community and the human behavior sciences, we try to understand, generally we've seen that people who are addicted to cigarettes or tobacco, they are not the kind of people who are dangerous in the society, because it has not been proven that tobacco has in any way resulted in crimes, or in any kind of situations that are out of hand from a addiction perspective. But I still feel that this is a very dangerous addiction, and I still categorize it as something that you have to make a choice whether you want to allow people with these kind of addictions into your life. For myself, I have made a decision that I would not allow such kind of individuals within my inner circle. Two reasons. One is, there is a it's like it's very difficult to be engaged with individuals who do not give value to their own well-being, right? They are basically smoking this product, and they are burning their lungs and chest, and then they are allowing their bodies to rot from inside with this kind of a habit. And so for me, it is a very irresponsible kind of behavior. And the second thing is, such individuals, they do not think through the impacts of it on their surroundings, because the secondhand smoking is equally dangerous as first-hand smoking. I want to share a short personal story about this smoking addiction. My maternal grandfather, my mother's father, he was a smoker, and from what I heard from my grandmother and my mother, apparently, in the periods of eras around their youth time period, smoking was very fashionable, and in the women of that era, they found smokers very attractive. My grandfather was the most amazing and gentleman that you could ever meet in your life, and I admire him for who he was as a human being. And this was the only bad habit he had in his life. Like, everything else, he was the best husband, father, son. He was very socially responsible. Career-wise, he was very successful, highly educated. He had traveled around the world. And so my grandmother and my grandfather's relationship was something that, was near perfect, except for this one habit that my grandfather had. So, all his children, they always try to tell him to quit smoking, and my grandfather would always say, yeah, I'll stop smoking from tomorrow. And then he would hide, and he would go outside the house. He would never smoke around the family, and he would get his habit going. So my mother's youngest sibling, when she was born, my grandfather was probably in his late 30s or early 40s. She is a very she's a very, her personality is very out there, and she's very extrovert, and even since childhood she has always been like that. When she became 4 or 5 years old, she used to despise the fact that my grandfather used to smoke. And since that young age, when she was 5-6 years old, she would go and find all his cigarettes, and she would she would destroy his cigarettes. She would flush them in the toilet, and my grandfather, he's trying to hide his cigarette. My grandmother was like, it was like a cat and mouse game in the family. And my youngest aunt, from my mother's side, her name begins with M, so we sometimes lovingly also call her M, Aunt M. And so when M was growing up and she was 6-7 years old, she would constantly, and she was my grandfather's favorite child also, is what I hear. So she used to always go and tell my grandfather, you have to stop smoking, acha. And my grandfather used to say, yes, baby, I will. And this was a constant thing that was going on in their lives. And probably she was around 8 or 9 years old. What happened was one day, and my grandfather actually tried to quit a couple of times. He tried to quit smoking, and my grandmother says, he just couldn't do it. He would he would stop for a day, 2 or 3 days, and then he would relapse into it. So one day what happened was, apparently after dinner, my grandfather, M caught my grandfather smoking. So M then scolded him, brought him inside the house. She seated him in the living room, and then she basically sat on his lap, and she said, Acha, I want to stop fighting with you. I am really tired of fighting with you and asking you to stop smoking. And I have understood that, you have made the choice that you are going to continue with this bad habit. And you are not worried about your, how long you will live because of this. And the reason I always fight with you is because, Acha, I love you so much. And I want you to live a very long life where you can play not only with my children, but also my grandchildren, Acha. But I don't think that is going to happen because you can never give up this habit. And I don't even think you will be alive to play with my children. So I'm disappointed in myself that I was not able to convince you to give up on the smoking. And I think you love the cigarettes more than you love me. And she said this with a very, very, calm way. Then she just said, I love you. And she gave him a hug and she said, good night. And she walked away. And so my grandmother is listening to this conversation without them knowing that she's eavesdropping on them. And apparently my grandfather was just stunned by that conversation. And my grandmother says that, she saw my grandfather's face was like completely flushed. He became completely pale after that conversation. M walked away. She did not even understand the impact she had on my grandfather with this conversation. And my grandmother says that was the first time my grandmother saw my grandfather crying. He just broke down and he started sobbing. My grandmother did not go and say anything to him. She wanted to leave him alone by himself with his own thoughts. And that was the moment that my grandfather decided to quit smoking. And this time, he was successful. He quit smoking at that age. He was in his early 40s or mid 40s when he quit, and he never smoked after that. And, my grandfather lived long enough to play with his grandchildren, and he played with two of his great-grandchildren, not M's grandchildren, but my other cousin's children. And, the impact that M had with that one single conversation with my grandfather changed the entire equation in the house, and it changed my grandfather's life. I think because of that one thing, my grandfather probably lived at least 5 to 8 years more than what he would have otherwise not been able to live because of his smoking habit. So for me, what I think is smokers are literally, they are burning their bodies indirectly by smoking, and that's why I find it a very irresponsible behavior. And so for anybody who's a smoker who is listening to this video, please, I want you to know that it is not worth it, and you have to find ways to let go of that habit for your own well-being and for the well-being of your family. Well, let me talk about one addiction that I did not talk about, because my family thinks I have a little bit of that, and that is addiction to shopping. I don't think I have an addiction to shopping. I am an impulsive shopper and I'm an excessive shopper. I understand I need to get that under control. We'll talk about it at some point in time. I think, let me address it a little bit more. I shop excessively, and a lot of it has to do with my joy of wanting to give things to others. The happiness that I feel when I'm giving things to others, I think I'm addicted to that. So I shop excessively. I shop for myself too, but I shop excessively for others is what happens in my life. And my grandmother really thinks I need to get that under control. My family rolls their eyes when I bring in 2 extra suitcases into their home, which is filled with gifts for the children. Oh my God, what do? I need to fix some of this in my life too. Okay, so that brings us to the end of that type of category of people. The 5th category of people, I call them the affair category. Basically, this is the category of individuals who are disloyal. And according to me, this is another type of individuals that you need to keep away from your life as much as possible. These kind of individuals I detest. They are breaking the most sacred and the most pious trust in their lives, and it is extremely unacceptable for me. And these kind of individuals, especially the ones who are married and they tend to have another relationship while they are married and having kids, and then they leave their wife and kids, and then they go run away with this other woman, and they don't take up the responsibility of the children that they have with their first wife. These kind of people uh, are absolutely disgusting, untrustworthy, unreliable, and they are just gunk when it comes to their personalities. Such people are like disgusting to the core, who are uh, who put themselves ahead of their children's well-being, no matter how bad their first or the wife is, irrespective of how disgusting that relationship would have been. There is a decorum, there is a responsibility as a parent that you have to do, and you need to continue taking the responsibility of the child till they have completed their education. And any parent who doesn't do this and they abandon their children are disgusting to the core. So that's the category 5 of people that I would not keep in anywhere around in my life. The 6th category is the kind, I call them the lazy, the lethargic category. These individuals, they have this oh, what do I call this? They are the downers, they have this, the energy around them, they lack motivation, they have this low energy around them, they struggle completing their tasks and activities, and they don't take on responsibilities, they overeat, they are the couch potatoes, they are not responsible as an individual. So in any relationship, you will see they are just moving around like sloths, and they are constantly having to remind, you have to do this task, or you have to take care of this responsibility. It's a headache to have a lazy and lethargic individual around you in your life. They are I think most of them, they have underlying psychological conditions that is not being addressed, lifestyle choices, and they have underlying health issues because of these situations, and it just kind of adds on to the situation that they are in. Such individuals, they're very indifferent or uninterested in their surroundings. They display minimal effort in their personal, professional spheres of life. They are inactive. They are constantly sleeping or always laying around on the couches. And such people, for me, again, I wouldn't keep such individuals anywhere around in my life. The next kind of category of individuals, which is the 7th category, I call them the chronic pessimistic, the negative thinkers, the downers. These are the individuals who are constantly complaining, and they have only negative, they only grasp the negative aspects of everything that happens in their lives. They have a very pessimistic outlook towards everything, and these people, they have a mindset to only focus appropriately on the adverse aspects of any situations. Frequently they will constantly complain, vocalize about dissatisfaction. Oh my god, these people, they can drain your energy. They are like the energy slayers, is what sometimes I call them. This mindset can hinder ability to have meaningful relationships or achieve personal goals. People are not happy to be around such individuals, and they don't foster any balanced perspective of any aspect of their lives. And I don't know, they need therapy for sure. If you have somebody in your family who is close connection or close relationship, you definitely need to get them therapy to help them with some of these issues. It's not going to get all right by itself, or it's only going to get worse as time goes by. The 8th kind of category of people that I personally don't like, these are the people pleasers. These are the individuals that they will go to any length to ensure that you will compliment them to be, oh, I really like you, you're nice. They will try to please you in any which way, and they will do this at the expense of their own needs and desires. And they prioritize others' wants over their own well-being, and their behavior. If I find that there is a people-pleasing characteristic in a person that I'm interviewing, I will reject them right there, no matter how educated they are, how good of an experience they have. These kind of people you can never trust. They will only tell you things that they believe you want to hear, so they will be fake in some aspects of their personality. These individuals, they struggle with self-esteem, and they don't have value, they don't have self-worth. So you know what they do is they try to constantly make sure that they are liked. So that is the thing that drives them in their head. I need to be liked by everybody who comes into my life. They get burnt out. They are individuals, who don't have any assertiveness in their personality. These kind of people, you will see, if in a society, you will hear, oh, the daughter-in-law of Mrs. Malhotra, she is so nice, she's the best daughter-in-law. I will say every daughter-in-law should be as nice as Mrs. Malhotra's daughter-in-law. The moment I hear that, I know Mrs. Malhotra's daughter-in-law is a people pleaser, period. they are fake individuals. The next category of personalities, which is the ninth category, the fake personalities. This is like the pleasing personalities bleed into this, but these fake personalities are another beast altogether. Okay, they're insincere, and they have a predisposition to present themselves as something that they are not. So they are very, there is no authenticity in them. These individuals, they will exhibit all kinds of personality traits that are constantly switching. So there is no consistency in their personality traits. So what happens is they try to wear multiple masks in different situations, and it's very difficult for them to keep up with their masks. So you will see the masks fall here and there. They change their behavior, opinions, attitudes, depending upon who they are with. And they are always trying to be agreeable and impressive. They try to be very charming, but they have deep-rooted insecurities, and they have a profound fear for rejection, these kind of personalities. And they, some of the narcissistic personalities, abusers, addicts, they kind of tend to be fake personalities. They are constantly wearing, trying to maintain charade, right, of all these fake masks that they are juggling. They can, some of these individuals, they can be really attractive, or they have the personality where you'll say, wow, look at them, they're so physically fit, or they look so good, but they lack genuineness, and and then you can sense that you can never trust these people. The inconsistencies over the period of time, it becomes apparent, and what happens is such individuals, they tend to always be trying to be in control of the situation. Again, they have borderline personality disorders, or narcissism, somewhere hidden under those fake masks that they are wearing. These individuals, they cannot foster genuine connections, and they have I don't want around them in any which way. So the one type of people who I find who generally fall under this, and I'm not saying all of them, but a majority of them, they will be in sales profession. You will see a lot of sales profession people who are in sales profession, especially in like high-end markets. I'm not talking of people who go door to door and sell things. I'm talking about these people who are selling a Mercedes, or who are in a high-end brand store. And they're trying to get their quota of sales, right? They are definitely fake personalities, and you can if you want to study personalities, they are a good one to pick on. They're very good in talking as well. The last but not the least, these are the sweet talkers. These sweet talkers, again, you see it will bleed. Fake personalities tend to be sweet talkers. People pleasers can be a little bit fake, and they can also be sweet talkers. These individuals, they will use their charm and flattery to achieve favors, manipulate situations to achieve their goals. Such individuals are, they have a knack to read emotions and desires of others, and then they will quickly kind of pick on those, and they will use persuasive language, endearing compliments, and they will try to sway you by your feet. These are the kind of individuals where if you are dating, if you're in the dating phase of a relationship, you will see these individuals you will just be like, oh my God, he's my Prince Charming. These sweet talkers, they are frequently motivated by ulterior motives, and you will see a lot of people who do catfishing, gold diggers, some of those people, they have this quality. These individuals, they often highly, they are very sociable, they will look like they are extroverts, they are skilled in the art of conversation, they will have the adaptability to approach and suit different personalities and contexts, and their charm can be very deceptive, and once that mask of lack of sincerity falls down, then they can fall into any of the above categories we talked about, all the way from bad characters to anything else except for lazy category. Consequently, engaging with such people, what happens is they will be very nice to have in your lives for a couple of weeks, and then the moment their charade falls off, they can be very dangerous, depending upon what are the other characteristics they are hiding under those masks. So they are very shallow, transactional, and once their motives are completed, they will generally, leave you in shreds and walk away. So to counter sweet talkers, it is crucial to cultivate a very, stern kind of boundaries around them. And the moment you try to question them, so you keep questioning them, right? That's when they are not able to keep up with their fakeness and with their people pleasing or sweet talking of fake masks. They will fall, and when you find such individuals, it is best to keep them away, because they will generally be of not much use for you, for your growth in your life. So that brings us to the end of all the 10 categories of people that you need to evaluate, how you are going to keep them away from your life to achieve peace of mind. If you have any of these categories in your life, they're definitely going to impact your peace of mind. For me personally, I don't allow any of these 10 categories of people around me in my life. And if there is anybody who is in my family, or who's in my close relationship, that have a little bit of some of the milder versions of characteristics, like some of the things that which are not dangerous, right, then we will definitely get them help and make sure that they are coming out of that situation. So some of these things, the reason I talk about is, these are not going to go away. So you cannot think that your love will change them, or I will my affection, my love, my every I will go into his life or her life, and she or he will change. No, they will not change. It is part of that is their nature, and part of that is their nurture. And these things, without proper rehab, without proper counseling and psychiatric help, will not cannot be addressed. And some of the triple A's I talked about, the addicts, abusers, and the affairs, those are the critical ones that you should definitely make sure you keep them out of your life as far as possible. I'm wishing each one of you abundance of peace of mind and happiness. And with that one thought, let's chant my favorite mantra. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. The translation of which means, may all living beings on our planet be happy and free. And with that lovely thought, I bid you farewell. Namaskaram, goodbye, and thank you.